Well, welcome back to the potting shed. It's been a while since we've been in here, mind, isn't it? But we started off this morning because I just wanted to let you know that today's video, rather than being concentrating on one thing, is going to have a few shorter little bits put together. The reason for that is I've got so many bits and pieces that I should have done that I just haven't. But Debbie actually gave me a box of round to-its the other day. She said, now you've got a round to it, you'll be able to get all those bits and pieces done. So let's go get started. Now this is actually my garage door, French windows, garage door. And I've got this beautiful wall here. Now it's a bit bare, it's all stone chips, but it did not get warm early in the morning. So I wondered, I thought, with a couple of screws up here, and a bit of wire across there, and a bit of old mesh on the bottom, that if I was to pop a few plates down there to weight that down, something like that, not perfect but just something like that, then I could actually put some really nice big pots of sweet peas down there like that, and between that wire there and the wire I'm going to put in up there, I can stick a bit of wood netting, and that way I can encourage the sweet peas first thing in the morning with a bit of water, a bit of sunshine, to grow and to absolutely fill that wall with sweet peas. Now if only I had a third pot. Oh, there you go. I popped a few little solar lights in the bottom just so it looked pretty in the night time. The pots are in there, and I actually decided just to use a bit of old chicken wire. So I've put a couple of canes in just to give it a bit of an edge to it, hooked into screws on the top, and then down the side on the chicken wire to keep the tension. I'm literally just wrapping around the rough edges onto the metal. Got to watch your thumbs on this because I've punctured myself a few times, and this is just so that Debbie doesn't end up getting her arm raked when she's going in and out of the garage. That should give me a beautiful wall carpet of incredibly scented blooms. Now sweet peas, you'll know, scent during the day, not at night. So I've left a little bit of space in the pots here, and I'm probably going to put a couple more smaller ones on the front, and I'll fill them with night scented stock. So the idea then is, as the sun goes down and as the sweet peas stop releasing their oil, the night scented stock kick in. And I don't know if you've smelt stock, but the night scented is absolutely stunning. It smells of jasmine, only much finer. Give it a shot. And there you go, dead simple project. So these are a few of the little seeds that I potted. I don't know if you remember, we had a few bits of seed left over from a couple of years ago, and I planted them up just to see if they would come to anything, and they have. They've come up. So now I'm just planting them into the ground, as you can see, a little bit closer than you normally would. Digging a hole, no big deal, and then straight in with the plant. Now my plan here as well is that when they're in, I'm going to cover them over with glass for a while. Now the reason for that is I've got some nasty pigeons around here at the minute, and they're having a right old go at what I've been putting in. Thankfully they've left the onions alone. Look at them, they're really nice, aren't they? Now you might say I popped a few spinach at the top, and the idea is that'll come up quickly, and then we can harvest that, and it leaves all this bed here nice and clean. Now you might notice these stakes I'm using here. Now that marks out 3 rows I've put in of Nante's carrot seed. Now again, I don't know if anything will come of that, but we'll try it. It's pelleted seed. It's the first time I've used it. I normally go for fresh seed, but we'll put that pelleted seed in and we'll see what happens. The old hive bits here, I use them as little temporary cloches. So I put in seedlings into these, put a bit of glass over, protects them. And the far end there's a pumpkin. And the idea is that pumpkin can spread all the way around the bottom end of the garden and down to where I've got carrots planted in the old hives there. Here I've also taken down all of the tops of the daffodils, and that's simply because I want them to be composted down as quickly as I can get them. So that's it. Okay, so as you can see, I've popped them in now, and a good neighbour of mine had given me a few sheets of glass, and as I don't need them in the greenhouse yet, I thought I'd very quickly knock up a cloche. Now I did find it really hard to find anything to hold the glass together with at the top. If you know anything better than what I've had to do here, I've just taken a bit of wood and put a couple of slots in it, and that seems to hold the glass in. But I would prefer something a little bit better than that. So if you know anything that would be better for holding the glass together than what I've got, let me know. Just put the details at the bottom so you can see the plants will be safe inside there, and I'll pop a bit of glass at each end just to stop the birds running through. So that's one little lot of cabbages under glass. Now next to them I've got a few left, so I'm going to put a few down here, but I'm going to put them under chicken wire, and we'll see what difference there is to the growing. That's fine, we'll get a few of those in. Nice and firm, but don't crush the roots on them when you put them in. They're a bit soft, but they'll settle, they'll be okay. Don't need to be too precious with them, just a bit of care. So there we are. Now that's not the most beautiful wire cloche in the world, but really all it's after doing is to stop the pigeons coming down and one pesky little bloody cat that loves to get in there and dig around stuff. And I'll give them a really good watering because they're a wee bit wilty. I'm pretty sure they'll pick up again. And give these a good watering too. I think I'm actually missing them more than I'm hitting them with. Yep. But you know what? It cleans the glass lovely. And remember, all this water is collected rainwater. And to the rainwater in the barrel, every week I add a gallon of liquid that comes out of my worm farm. So I suppose it's just really rich in nutrients. So hopefully, mega cabbages. So this is what I'm using for kind of mobile cloches. This area of the garden is quite good. It gets the sun from early in the morning till late in the afternoon. So what I've got is a top off an old beehive, and that's just a riser off a beehive. Bit of that lovely glass. Over you go. Look at that. As simple as that. Keeps the moisture in. Now these seeds have only been in here a few days, and already you can see they're starting to come through. What we've got in there, cornflowers. So again, we'll just keep that on the top, keeps them nice and warm, and then when I want to harden them off, I just move the glass a wee bit. Oh, I've spotted a fairy. Look.
You're talking to yourself again? In the garden? You're talking to yourself in the garden again?
Might be.
I thought you might.
Now, do you remember last week when I showed you those beans going in the buckets along the wall? Look at that. That's a week. And all those beans grown in my worm compost have all come through. So have the sunflowers. And look at that baby. I mean, that's just going crazy. But they've all come through. Now, I did have a couple of lovely little courgettes up here, but the birds have been into them. So I've had to lift them up on the top. If you have a look at that now, you get some idea of what I was planning. You know, the beans, the runner beans growing up that wall. Hello and welcome back to Geordie's Cheap and Cheerful Chatty Tips. This is where I give you cheap and cheerful solutions to those murderous problems. Now, if you, like me, use plant labels, and we all do, we use these, and then we keep them afterwards, we clean them, but we use them. Some of us go the whole hog and we buy lolly stick versions, which is quite good, but they don't last so long, those lolly sticks. Well, we were in the house the other day and we had a broken slatted blind. You know the kind I mean? These things? They're murder. You put them up and they look great, they do look very good, but you never fail to break one of the slats on them. You know, you're cleaning away, the next thing you know, you've snapped it. What can you do with it? Well, you can take it to the recycle, or you can chuck it in the bin, or you can get yourself a big pair of shears like this, and then you can take yourself a nice bit like that, and you can just cut that off to about 6 inches. Old money. What does that remind you of? Plant labels? Off an old blind, I've ended up with about 300 like that. It's fantastic. They last me forever. They're really good. They're wood, and best of all, they take a pen. No trouble at all.